A very good morning to you from Amsterdam for the 44th edition of this famous big city marathon. Well, conditions here this morning are near perfect for the marathon. Dry and with very little wind, temperatures around 9 degrees. Negea could make today a very big day for Dutch marathon running.
17,000 coiled springs rating to go. Nervous anticipation. And away we go. The 44th Amsterdam Marathon in 2019 is officially underway. 42.195 kilometres, 26.2 miles if you prefer the distance in old money, lie ahead. And we've already seen the course, and it's a terrific course. And we've got a great field here. That's the scene, the Olympic Stadium, 1928, remember. That was the first time a marathon was run in this famous city. It was won by Bouhera Al-Ouafi from Algeria in 2:32.57, for those of you who like your history.
Seeing the thousands of participants cross the start line and head out on their journey.
So there we are, just coming into Final Park for the first time. Going to hang a right into this famous park, one of the main green spaces in the centre of Amsterdam.
I think it's been a very special period over the last month for world marathon running, and I'm sure today we're going to see another great race.
There is the Rijksmuseum, absolutely splendid. Underwent a major refurbishment. They're going to turn right and go through the arches and into the museum plain, and not surprisingly, the marathon there showing off, showcasing, if you like, Amsterdam in all its glory, and it doesn't get much better than that.
If things go really well for him today, he might get close to Mo Farah's European record set just a year ago in Chicago.
He's known as the nomad, isn't he, really, Abdi?
Yes, Valentine, his manager, was saying how Abdi used to travel to Ethiopia for training, Kenya for training, sometimes be in Holland. Out on the Amstel River, used for some of the big competitions here in Holland. Holland is a rowing nation as well as a running nation, and many big sports, hockey and of course road cycling.
Here's the view from the boat camp. So we've got cameras, we've got angles covered all over the place here in Amsterdam today. This is the picture from the river itself. Look at that.
Well, there's one of the famous sites, the windmill, de Riekemolen. Look at that, almost 400 years old. And Chris, I think that windmill is still practicing.
It's quite a sight. Great support, actually, at this particular part of the course. And, of course, the spectators, as always, will play their part. Pacemaker's still looking good, still working as a team. What a view he's got of this Amsterdam Marathon unfolding.
There's the hose, Chris, if you want to know how it works. That's where they get their power.
They do a sharp 180-degree turn.
So another of the well-known windmills. We translate that as the Swan windmill, the Swan. So one of the Kenyan athletes possibly starting to struggle a little bit, Lucas Rotich. But the drink stations often starts to put gaps between athletes, and the question is whether it's a serious gap or whether it's just being caused by how the athletes pick up their drinks. That there was a little bit of pushing and shoving and sidestepping. So here we go, through halfway, and the athletes are certainly going a little bit slower than we were expecting. We were expecting a halfway split of around 62:30, but it looked like they were just outside 63 minutes. Well, here's Abdi Negea. The question really is whether he can close that gap.
Yeah, 5 seconds off the rest of the group. He was through halfway. And, well, that gap, I reckon, now is 20 metres plus between this leading group and Abdi Nagea. There he is, and he's got to make sure that he can just keep them in his sights, even allowing for the foreshortening there. That is a gap that looks to me to be getting slightly bigger. Chirono's 30k split was 1:28.58, and he's got them pretty much back on track here.
Well, that is impressive pacemaking, isn't it? And they're through 30k, and Kiptu is saying, I've done my work, it's all up to you now. And these spectators are just going to show us exactly how fast those leading athletes are running at. Well, that is fascinating, isn't it, Chris, to see how they came back on schedule, just 7 seconds down on Chirono's course schedule at 30 kilometres, having been 50 seconds down at the halfway point. So that 10 kilometres between 20 and 30 kilometres where Kiptu, the pacemaker, really took charge of the pace. The penultimate drink station at 35 kilometres, and as we've seen already, this is where the group spreads out. Bernard Koech, he's working hard again to stay with them at 35 kilometres.
That's the scene in central Amsterdam, past the Amstel Hotel, one of the iconic hotels in the centre of the city.
And the athletes now just approaching the bridge that takes them over the Amstel River. There are the 8 athletes. Interesting, isn't it, Chris, that it seems to be the Kenyans who are doing all the leading. Tadu Abata, the young Ethiopian, has run a great race, and actually on the far side there, number 3, Solomon Dixisa, a few minutes ago, who was at the back of that group, well, he's really moved himself to the front. Well, I think Unenyao, the Ethiopian, well, he's had a great race. If he can just keep going at the pace he's at, he's going to record a massive PB. Only once run the marathon distance, 2:14.26, so he's going to smash that time today.
And now look at that, the splintering of this group. We mentioned the young Ethiopian who's been dropped, but look at that, they're now single file, Indian file, and this, approaching 38 kilometres, could be the decisive break here. They're continuing to put their foot to the pedal.
So within the matter of 20 metres, those big gaps are now opening up. Maurice Gachaga, Daniel Kemboy dropping back. This, the really tough part of the marathon. Number 11, Maurice Gachaga. A few moments ago, he was in that leading group, and now, as they take their last drink station before entering Vondel Park, even Tadu Abata is now having to work really hard to stay in contact with those leading 4 athletes. So it's the Kenyan Elisa Rotich, number 5, at the front of the race, being pursued by Solomon Dixisa, number 3, and just a few metres down, Vincent Kipchumba and the second Ethiopian, Batesva Getahun. Here's the Rijksmuseum.
They'll be pleased to see it for the second time because it means they're almost home.
There they are, entering Vondel Park, 38.5 kilometres. Just over 2 kilometres to run, and that gap of 5 metres is still there, and it's Rotich, the Kenyan.
Well, Rotich, the Kenyan, we mentioned with the devastating finish. We haven't seen him unleash it yet, but these final kilometre and a bit are going to be really, really testing here. Dixita, with that rather ungainly, slightly untidy wide arm carriage we've mentioned, is not doing him any harm at all. He's still very competitive here. Kipchumba there has worked really hard to stay on the coattails of these leading 2. 2 Ethiopians, 2 Kenyans, all battling it out here on the streets of Amsterdam for a famous victory here in 2019.
And it's the Ethiopian Batesva Getahun who is struggling now to stay with that that pace.
Yes, the Ethiopian has been dropped in his first ever marathon, so we're down to 2 Kenyans and 1 Ethiopian. Is this the podium here unfolding as we approach 41 kilometres? This is a straight shootout on a Sunday morning here in Amsterdam. Look at the speed of these athletes. You wouldn't think they've been running for over 2 hours, but they have. Under 5 minutes of running left here in Amsterdam.
The women's race as they cross Amstel River past the Amstel Hotel, and as we've seen, Asmera Gebru on the shoulders of the 2 male pacemakers.
The last kilometre here in Amsterdam in 2019. Are we looking at a straight shootout here between 2 fellow Kenyans? Elisha Rotich there in the blue wearing number 5, and Vincent Kipchumba, the 29-year-old, wearing the white, number 8. Kenya 1, Kenya 2, and Ethiopia now 3 inside the final kilometre.
Well, Vincent Kipchumba's worked really hard to get back to that leading group, and now he's actually taken over the lead and is actually the strongest looking of the 3 athletes. So it's Vincent Kipchumba from Kenya, number 8, leading out Solomon Dixisa, the Ethiopian, who's been with the lead throughout the race. So Vincent Kipchumba has opened up 2 or 3 meters on Dixisa, and Elisha Rotich in 3rd place.
Dixisa has rallied here. That's the finishing line there inside the Olympic Stadium. We will wait for them inside the stadium. The final 200 metres of this marathon will be on the track. It's half a lap of the track and they are almost there. Inside the final 500 metres here in Amsterdam, it's Kenya 1, Ethiopia 2. Kipchumba leading the way. He had to work so hard in Fondle Park to get back in contention, and here he is leading the way. This would be the biggest win of his career. There is Tadu Abate, who was in contention for much of the race. 400 metres to go. It's Kenya 1, Ethiopia 2. They can see the stadium. I am Amsterdam. Will it be Amsterdam who will be greeting Kipchumba here in 2019? He's almost there. We'll see him come into the stadium. We can see him now from our commentary position. 200 metres to go, and it could be a famous victory here in 2019. Vincent Kipchumba, the 29-year-old, he won in Vienna in April, and he's on his way to victory here in Amsterdam in 2019. The course record set last year by Lawrence Chirono will not be disturbed today, but what a performance here. It's Kenya's day again. It was Kenya's day in 2017, 2018 through Lawrence Chirono, and now it's Kenya's day again in 2019. Vincent Kipchumba, who won in Vienna in April with a massive personal best. Keep an eye on the clock, 2:06.56. He's done it again. Vincent Kipchumba wins in Amsterdam in 2019. 2:05.09, unofficially the winning time. It's a huge personal best. Solomon Dixisa, 3rd last year, makes it 2nd in 2019. And in 3rd place for Kenya, Elisha Rotich, with the sprint finish that perhaps didn't quite happen today. And what a debut for the 2nd Ethiopian home. Betesma Getahun, the 21-year-old from Ethiopia, comes home in 4th place. What a race, what a performance. And again, it's Kenya's day. Vincent Kipchumba. 400 metres to go. Abdi Nagaya, who's struggled hard, but here he comes. He has the stadium in sight. The Dutch champion, the national record holder, will be outside his own national record here. It's been a long, tough road here today. He said he came into this race feeling good, in pretty good form. Patrick Sang, his coach, part of the group there in Kaptabet in Kenya, and here he is into the final 200 metres, and the crowd, the Dutch crowd, getting behind their man. He struggled. We feared he may find it difficult to live with the pace, that 62.30 pace, the early pace-making group led by Edwin Kiptu. But here comes Adbi into the final home straight in the stadium, this iconic Olympic stadium here in Amsterdam, with 100 metres to go. Abdi won't be the best time of his career, but it's been another impressive performance here by Abdi Nagaya, the 30-year-old, outside his personal best, outside the Dutch record, but he still finishes inside the top 10, and it's a really well-earned performance there from Abdi Nagaya. 2:07.39 for Abdi Nagaya.
Well, isn't this interesting? Degetu Azmero, the Ethiopian debutant, is now leading the women's race. Well, this is going to be a real upset if she can hold on to this lead.
Well, let's just take a look at how this happened. There we are. Here's Tigist Gera, the athlete in the blue. And this was the moment, just entering Fondle Park here for the last time. The two of them stride for stride, and away she went. The handbrake came off and said, right, this is my time. I'm on my way. I've never run a full marathon in my life, but I feel good. She's 20 years old, and that was the decisive break. And here she is live and on her way to her first ever victory in her first ever full marathon, just 20 years old and heading for victory. What a performance. She now has victory in her sights. The Olympic Stadium very shortly will loom into view, gritting her teeth, but she looks still full of running, looks really confident, really composed, has kept her shape, the shoulders are still loose, and she's still full of running here with just a few more minutes of running to go.
There's the stadium. Got 2 more turns, I think, before she comes onto the track.
Well, when she reaches the stadium, that will be just over 200 meters to go. There she is, approaching 500 to go. What a sight that must be for the youngster from Ethiopia, Degetu Azmero. This is a new name for many people. Degetu Azmero, on her way to a famous victory. 400 meters to go here. It's 1 lap of the track, and a new name is born here in 2019 for Ethiopia. 400 meters to go. Degetu Azmero, the 20-year-old from Ethiopia, on her way to victory here in her maiden marathon. There is the athlete in second place, giving chase hard, Tigist Gera, who was in contention until the latter stages, but once again in Fondle Park, the brakes came off, the handbrake came off, and she was away. Now she's into the stadium, into the final 200 meters. We can see her now from our commentary position. She's almost there. What a debut this is. It's going to be an Ethiopian 1-2, and significantly, it's going to be a new course record. She is going to smash the course record. 100 meters to go. Ethiopia's day once again. It's a new name for women's marathon running here in Amsterdam. Ethiopia will get first and second, but the winner today in her first ever marathon, remember the name, Degetu Azmero, only 20 years old. She smashes the course record in Amsterdam in 2019. Meseret Hailu's record of 2:21.09 has been destroyed here by the youngster in Amsterdam. Degetu Azmero, in her first ever marathon, knocks over 2 minutes off that course record. Second place. Well done to Tigist Gera, also from Ethiopia, coming home and a really creditable 2:19.51, also inside the former course record. So the first two home have beaten the former course record quite comfortably. That has been an exceptional race, and that's what it means to her. Ethiopia 1 and 2 in the women's race, but the winner this year in 2019, Degetu Azmero, just 20 years old.
Well, superb performances by the top 2 women. The best time, 2:26 coming into this race. And there's the third placed athlete, Azmera Gebru, also running under the course record inside 2 hours and 21 minutes. So the top 3 athletes all under Meseret Hailu's course record, a new course record hit here this year.
Bovenals, de laatste week van deze moeilijk, van deze zwaar op tempo. 2:32, handje aan de lucht in 2:32.33. Voor Nederland, Nederlands kampioen, Bovenals. En de eerste presentatie van de technische daar de laatste week is de goal gehaald.
So our podium finishers here in Amsterdam in 2019. In third place, Elisha Rotich from Kenya. In second, Solomon Dexisa, Ethiopia. And our winner in 2019, there he is, in a huge personal best, Vincent Kipchumba from Kenya.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time in and a new track record of 2:19.26. Please, your attention, your respect and applause for the female winner of the 2019 TCS Amsterdam Marathon, representing Ethiopia, Degitu Azimero!
So the winner of the 2019 TCS Amsterdam Marathon, Degitu Azimero, 20-year-old, debutant at the marathon, a new course record. What a day for her, and what a year for her, having won the silver medal at the African Games in August, and now to record her first big city marathon victory here in Amsterdam. So our top 3 finishers in the women's race here in Amsterdam: the winner, Degitu Azimero from Ethiopia, a new course record, 2 hours 19 minutes and 26 seconds, 24 years of age, 2 hours 20 and 52 seconds. So they're the top 3 in the women's race here in Amsterdam, standing alongside the top 3 male finishers. We've really enjoyed watching 2 great elite races, with Vincent Kipchumba from Kenya winning the men's race and Degitu Azimero, the new debutant at the marathon from Ethiopia, winning the women's race in a new course record.